All right, everybody, Dewey back at it again here with a deck profile that I think some of you will be interested in because some of these cards will be new to you. First things first, thanks to everybody at Galaxy and Elite who helped me get the cards that I needed and let me play test against you, especially Gabriel for going in on boxes with me, and JP for trading me the Ragnaraika Bloom that I needed. So I went X3 in the main event at the Chicago Rosemont Regional this weekend, largely due to misplays and not understanding how Tenpai works properly, but that will be rectified in the future. But I did win 2 of those matches, and then I won at least 1 game, well, exactly 1 game, against the 3 people I lost against. So I think there's potential. And then I entered some side events, and I won a Win-A-Mat tournament, which gave me this lovely mat with Libromancer Geek Boy and Libromancer Fire, and you cannot tell me that they are not a couple. And the internet agrees with me, so you can look that up yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the deck profile. We have the Traptrix stuff, the Raika stuff, extenders, and then non-engine traps, etc. And then we have the extra deck up here, and we have the side deck over there. So first things first, we'll do our Traptrix stuff. If you watched my last Traptrix profile, this is not very different. We have 1 Garden. If you've never seen it before, this is our field spell. It's an extra normal, it's battle protection, and it's extension out of the graveyard, which is very useful. Weirdly, it's not called Traptrix Garden. I don't know why. Then 3 Pudica. Pudica is useful because 1, she searches Garden, and 2, she has a secret effect which gets Ash Blossom out of your opponent's hand. And 3, when she's special summoned, she gets to banish one of your opponent's special summon monsters. They do get to bring back a special summon monster during the next standby phase, but that's okay. Usually you have a whole setup for that. We have 3 Murmileo. 1, 2, 3. Murmileo is amazing. Not once per turn, either effect. On normal, add a hole. On special, pop a back row your opponent controls, and that is mandatory, so it does set up some wonky chain links, and it can also proc Sarah on your first turn, even if your opponent doesn't have back row. Mantis, we love her. Also not once per turn, really. Her second effect is a soft once, which is odd. You rarely use it. On normal, adds a Traptrix monster. Usually you're adding Arachnacampa here, but sometimes you add other things. Dionea. On normal, reborn a Traptrix. On special, reset a trap hole. She is all about reviving and grind. We love her. And then I was playing 2 Arachnacampa, and I actually really liked this. This saved me against Lightning Storm and Lightning Storm and Harpies multiple times. I would hold it in my hand, wait for my opponents to activate it, and then chain, and it would resolve with that effect, which is really nice. 1 I was often using on my turn, searching to trigger a trigger Sarah, using as Xyz material, and then I would often search the second one off of ping to use on my opponent's turn. And then for the trap holes, we have obviously 3 of Volatea because she is the best hole, because she's both a monster and a trap, and sometimes you need both. She did save me a few times where I didn't draw any monsters, and that's always sad when that happens. And then the ones everyone agrees on are Floodgate, Gravediggers, and Trap Hole Nightmare, really in that order. Gravediggers will often save you from Nibiru, and it saved me many times from Nibiru, while also burning my opponent for 2,000 just because. And then this one, if you don't know it, is the special summon monster, activates its effect, you say no, and then you destroy it. Really great. And then Time Space Trap Hole is one that I like that not everyone likes. I was mostly had this in here a long time ago for Unchained format, where I could non-targeting, non-destruction remove their bodies, but I don't know, this came up a few times. It's not always amazing. I did shuffle back a voiceless ritual monster that got summoned out of the hand, but then they had the ritual spell engraved and just literally summoned it back out from the deck. So that was kind of all for nothing. All right, the Raika stuff, which is probably why you're here. It's honestly so cool. You might not know what these cards do. They're very pretty. Ragnaraika, as it's been localized, is an archetype of insects, reptiles, and plants. It's the new Tri-Brigade. And so Seed is your starter. So it says, you can special summon this card from your hand by sending one of the tri-types from your hand to the graveyard. That does not start a chain, so your opponent cannot negate that. They would have to like Solemn Judgment or something on summon. You can only special summon it that way once per turn. I was rarely doing that because I never really wanted to draw it. I like to summon it out from the deck in a way that I will show you later. And then on summon, you can add 2 Ragnaraika cards with different names that are either in your deck or banished. Add them to your hand, and you have to banish a card from your hand. It doesn't have to be one of those 2 cards. And then you're locked into the tri-types. And here is what you are searching off of that. You are going to search Bloom, and you're going to search Ragnaraika Samurai Beetle. So the reason you are going to search these 2 is because you're going to banish the beetle, activate Bloom, Bloom summon back Beetle. Then you will link off Beetle along with the plant, and it will activate its effect, where you get to summon back a level 4 or lower tri-type from your graveyard, which can include the plant. But usually what you'll do is get a Traptrix back and trigger its effect, which is really nice. So that's these two. And then later in the combo, through an extra deck monster that I will show you, you are able to search the normal trap called Ragnaraika Hunting Dance. It says target cards your opponent controls up to the number of different monster types among the link monsters you control that are insect, plant, or reptile. Destroy them. Really useful because this can target back row, and it can be activated pretty much whenever your opponent controls a card, so it doesn't have the whole problem where you need your opponent to do something in order to trigger them. It's much harder to play around. And it's usually a pop 2 because we'll try to end on Stag Sovereign and Sarah. And in most hands you can do that, which is pretty sweet. Also has a graveyard effect, which I never used because the games didn't usually last that long, but if it's in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, and your face-up insect, plant, or reptile is destroyed, doesn't have to be a link, you get to banish it and target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it. You kind of do want it to be banished later so that you can grab it back with Evil Seed. The reason you only need to run 4 is because between Bloom and Evil Seed, you can recycle everything every turn. It's really nifty. Okay, here's Extenders, 3 Pot of Prosperity, which I only activated for 3 unless it was a very dire scenario and I was going second and I needed to find evenly matched exactly. This card's great. It's also a great punish for after people Ash Blossom your normal summon. 3 Purrely Seed. The Traptrix Discord does not like that I play this, but we're gonna ignore them for now because this saved me so many times, and every time I activated Purrely Seed from my hand after linking one with Sarah, my opponents would do this big upset sigh, and that's how you know that a card is good and that you should play it. It also insulated me from Nibiru so many times because Purrely Seed is just Rafflesia for linking 1, which you're going to do anyway. And then you can often do your whole Ragnaraika combo protected from Nibiru because you will have Rafflesia up, which you cannot do if you didn't have exactly Exceed in your hand. All right, non-engine traps, 3 Infip. It just feels so weak. I know it's like sort of a necessary evil so that you can have a chance going second, but I feel like every time I in-permed something my opponent was doing, they would just have the extender they needed to continue playing anyway, but you know, sometimes you gotta put them on it. Evenly Matched. I love this in the main deck. People were not prepared for it. I lost the die roll against Rika, like Plant Rika, and they made like this huge end board with like 7 interruptions, but they did not have a spell and trap negate. And so I just went to battle and evenly matched everything. Still lost that game though because I don't think I drew a Traptrix monster. And then I had a Dark Ruler more because we had a going second problem, but I really wanted something that I could activate on the opponent's turn, and this is kind of like Drop Ruler. It's unrespondable in its own little way. And I also wanted something for Tenpai and something to stop losing the game for when people will try to crash into Sarah. I wanted to do the cute thing where you remove Sarah during the damage step by sending her for cost from Droplet and then negating a monster's effect and having its attack. They don't get to redeclare because the damage step has already begun. Droplet's cool, we love that. And the last 2, I was playing 42 cards, so I could have just not played this, but resolving Torrential Tribute always feels good. It's a little bit awkward in this build because normally this is free because Rafflesia protects all of your Traptrix monsters and cannot be destroyed herself by Torrential Tribute, but because we're ending on Rika links sometimes, this is not always the best, so we should probably cut this. Cool, that is the main deck. And now I will show you the extra deck, and then I'm going to show you the main Traptrix Rika combo, which is extremely fun and nets you a bunch of interruptions and takes a long time, and it's fun to pretend that we're a combo deck in this day and age. All right, so these guys are going to live over here, and then we'll do our Traptrix links first. There's only 4. We're playing 3 Sarah, and yes, I should get the shinier version of her, but I don't have her yet. In this build specifically, you might be able to do 2 because you can reborn a Sarah and then put her back in the extra deck with your Rikas and Grave, the links, but I haven't quite become that brave yet. And then Atypus. Atypus is also really interesting in this build for the same reason. Her first effect to pop is a soft once per turn, so you can use that effect, put her back in the extra deck with a Rika link in the grave, resummon her, do it again. Pretty cool. And her banishing the Ragnarika trap is actually really useful because then you just use Bloom to bring back the seed, and the seed can add the trap back to your hand, and then you're good to go. Those are our links for our Traptrix Xyz monsters. I stopped playing Rafflesia, so that's one concession to the Traptrix Discord. Here is Pinguicula. I sometimes think about playing her as 2 because having her as follow-up is really awesome, but I got away with playing her at 1 yesterday. she's amazing. She searches, she eats things, it's quite useful. One thing to know about this is though, you can't actually eat the Tenpais when they use their effects to perform a Synchro summon, because that's like when IP activates her effect. We had a judge call about that because neither of us knew. But she cannot eat the Tenpais after they Synchro summon with their effects. Sad. RagnaRix is great. And what's really nice in the Raika build is that after you use her effect to summon 2 things out and she has no more material, you can use a Raika Link in the grave to put her back in the extra deck so that she's safe for later. Or to be summoned out again and then use her other effect to reborn things. Okay, Rafflesia is Rafflesia. I love her. She's protection, she is interruption, and she has 2,500 defense. Really 3,100 if you're counting the debuff from Bloom and the buff from Bloom, because Bloom gives all of the tri-types on the field plus 300 attack and defense, and it gives all non-tri-types minus 300 attack and defense, which actually made it easy to beat over SP a few times. And then Malevolent Scent is the hill that I will die on. This card comes up so often after you are locked into tri-types but need to get rid of one more monster to kill them for game, and you've already used Pudica. This is often the way you'll do it, because you'll do this, and then you'll either Pinguicula Eat or RagnaRix Reborn, the thing that you temporarily banished, and then they never get it back. Yay. All right, and then here are our Raika links, and these will all make sense in a bit. This is our honorary Raika link, and this is how we do the whole Raika combo just from Traptrix things. Because normally, when we're making Sarah, we are then activating Holatea. And do you know what type Holatea is when she summons as a monster? She's a plant. Do you know what type Sarah is? She's a plant. So Sarah and Holatea make this, and then whatever Sarah summoned out of the deck, you tribute. You summon your little Raika seed, and then you do the whole thing. It's really fun and awesome. Whenever I summoned this, people would be like, what are you about to do to me? And I'd be like, smile. Okay, Skeletal Soldier. This is the link 2 that's kind of like Sprite Elf for the archetype, but it is a full turn lock. You do need to note that you can't use its effects if you summon anything else in that turn, including like Parallel Exceed. So its effect, and all of them just say including a plant, insect, or link, except the link 5. You need only those things to make this. So including, so you can target RagnaRika in the graveyard, special summon, and defense. And then if it's in the graveyard, they all have the same graveyard effect. You can target a monster on the field, place it on the bottom of the deck, including extra deck monsters, doesn't have to be main deck monsters, and then summon it to the field. Very cool. So this is our elf, it reborns things, really nice, it's part of the combo. This is usually what we're using to search interruption. It doesn't do anything on the field other than search the trap. You banish 2 tri-types, you search the trap, very helpful. And then this is what we end on. This is an interruption, Stag Sovereign. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck and or extra deck, except during the damage step, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field, non-targeting, my friends. And so a really fun thing you can do is if you have this out, and Sarah out, and Rafflesia out, and your opponent summons some things that you need to destroy, but they don't have 2 monsters yet, you say Stag Sovereign, and you say, okay, on resolution, we will try to destroy Sarah and your monster. Sarah will not be destroyed because you have Rafflesia, and she is protected. Yay. And then here are the sort of non-engine extra deck slots that I have chosen. Baguska, which came up many times against Voiceless Voice and against Branded, will not cut this card. It's so good, especially because Parallel Exceed plus any Traptrix gets you there. And if you have Parallel Exceed plus Traptrix plus Holatea and a discard, then you can kind of do your whole Traptrix thing protected by Baguska. Really nice. There were some Fire Kings still running around, Fire King Snake Eye, and so Abyss Dweller was useful. It was also useful to do in some other situations where I was going to need to crash into something and that was going to trigger a graveyard effect. We love Abyss Dweller. And then Zeus, which I actually never made yesterday. Often by the time I could have, I was in set to plant locked, so he didn't come up, but there might have been situations where he would be useful, especially for things that couldn't be targeted or destroyed. I did play a Blackwing player, and that was really hard. I had to draw exactly evenly, but I did. All right, so now let's do the side deck. I do not feel strongly about this side deck at all, so if you have opinions about it, please share in the comments. It sort of did what I needed it to do. 2 thrust, searching evenly is great, and or searching all the things I'm about to show you. Raigeki, useful. Herald of the Abyss, useful. I did play Purrely, and I did play Blackwing, or not Blackwing, I played Raid Raptor, and they had a bunch of unaffected monsters, which was really annoying. Okay, Feather Duster, and then Lightning Storm, obviously. And then for traps, we do different dimension ground. I kind of wish I had more of this. This was really useful every time I resolved this. This turn, any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead, but not spells and traps, which is useful because we like to recur those. Double D barrier, honestly, would play this in main. I think there's a world in which we do that because we can trigger Sarah whenever we want, and it is kind of like Imperm, except it is for a lot more things than just Imperm. All right, goes in match, useful, speaks for itself. It didn't really hit a lot of decks this format, so it'll probably come out. Anti-spell Fragrance is anti-spell, should be the end, not at 1. And then 3 Droll. Droll came in and did win me a match against Tenpai because their last play after chewing through all my interruptions was Field Spell, Search. No, it was Terraforming, Search, Field Spell. And I drolled after Terraforming and they were kind of stuck from there. Great. So now I want to show you the combo that sort of gets this all going. So let's put everything where it's supposed to be. Side deck, you go over here. Extra deck, you go here. Main deck, you go here. So there's a few different ways you can do this. Pudica Murmileo works, but say that we have Murmileo, say that we have Infib, and I'll just show you, like, if we have Purrely Exceed, how this would be nib-proof. I actually did have these 3 cards quite frequently yesterday, which was really nice, because really it's just these 2 together, or some way to get to them. All right. So you may know most of this combo already. What happens is we will normal Murmileo effect to search Holotea. Very conveniently, this is in order. Fabulous. We will now link 1. We're gonna have to move this. All right. We will link 1 for Sarah. On summon, we will declare Exceed effect in hand. We will declare Exceed effect on field. We will summon the other Exceed. Amazing. Now, from here, if we had all 3 of these, we would do this. And if you didn't open Exceed, you would just ignore Rafflesia right now. Pretend she doesn't exist. Cool. Now what we want to do is set our Holotea and activate Holotea by pitching the normal trap. If this is a whole normal trap, great, you'll summon Dionea here. So we'll summon this, Sarah will trigger. If it's not a whole normal trap, you will summon another Murmileo here. The reason is that it will trigger Sarah. And we're gonna put Murmileo specifically right here, and you'll see why in a second. Murmileo will trigger, Sarah will set from deck. I usually like to set Floodgate here. Here's our Floodgate. Yay. Do not set Gravediggers here, because if you do, and they nib you, you will not have a Gravediggers to send with Rafflesia, and that would be so sad. All right, from here, these are both plants. We link them off. Ta-da! For our beautiful, beautiful Aromaseraphy Jasmine that I got just in time for this event. All right, up she goes. Jasmine will use her effect, Tribute, to bring out Evil Seed. Evil Seed will trigger, adding us both Bloom and the Beetle. And it will banish the Beetle. Okay, banish. Great. Now we will activate Bloom. We will use Bloom effect, Reborn Beetle. Now, we will link the 2 of these. Can you still see that? Yes. For our Raika Link 2. Doesn't really matter the zone here. On summon of this, you will declare Beetle effect to reborn a Traptrix. Yay. Now you will declare Skeletal Soldier, that will be a mandatory trigger, whatever. Skeletal Soldier effect, reborn one of these. It does not matter because you're about to link it off. Okay, from here, you link the 2 of these. You have to do this slightly differently if you activated Exceed, because you wouldn't actually be able to do this because these effects wouldn't work. You'd have to go directly into link 3, but pretend that we got this some other way. Okay, so from here, you link these. You make Mantis. You will Mantis Monk effect. You will banish these 2 specifically, because you can get them back later. There might be a slightly better way to do it, but this is the way I've been doing it for now. That will search you the Raika Trap. This one. Super. From here, we can go ahead and set this and just forget about it. We can link the two of these, but what I like to do, and this is maybe just a personal preference, I use the Skeletal Soldier effect to put Jasmine back in the extra deck. There might be a world in which we want to summon her again. And then I use these two to link for Stag Sovereign. Yay. And then we link away the Traptrix we reborned earlier for another copy of Sarah. This is why we probably actually do need to still play 3 Sarah, because we're summoning 2 in this first combo. So to review, we may or may not have Rafflesia. She might be here, she might not. But we should end on Floodgate Trap Hole, or any hole of our choice. We should end on Ragnarika Trap, which will be a pop 2, because she's a plant and he's an insect. We have Rafflesia Protection. We have Rafflesia Hole copy effect. We will have Sarah effect to set from deck next turn, Sarah effect to summon from deck, which we can trigger quite easily with this. We have Holatea in the grave that can summon back a Murmileo, or if something happens to our Sarah, it can summon back a Sarah to make sure she's still alive. And then we have Stag Sovereign, who is a non-targeting pop 2 monsters. Pretty sweet. Bloom is also randomly a buff and debuff. I mentioned that briefly earlier. So all tri-types on the field, including our opponent's field, gain 300 attack and defense. All other monsters on the field lose 300 attack and defense. I got to do funny things like normal Arachnacampa, or activate this, normal Arachnacampa, and then beat over SP because of this. Because all of our Traptrix, except Pudica, I think, are big enough to do that with this buff debuff. Cool. So that is the main combo. And then we'll talk about my matches another time, because they were not... Actually, they were super eventful, but we'll discuss on Twitch perhaps, and I'll tell you what I did. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this journey. And if you have any ideas about how to play Traptrix Raika, please let me know. Awesome. Thanks, guys.